In a World Cup elimination match, the margin for error is effectively zero. One missed assignment, and you're going home. Today, we're looking at Sweden taking on Tunisia. These two squads rarely cross paths, meaning there's almost zero historical data to rely on. You have a heavily favored European side, burdened by massive expectations, stepping onto the pitch against a North African underdog that thrives on explosive, disruptive energy. Because they lack a shared history, neither team holds a psychological edge. That blind spot makes the matchup volatile for analysts trying to project a clean outcome. What we are really watching is a pure tactical collision. It is strict European defensive rigidity going head-to-head with North African transitional chaos. Standard predictions struggle in games like this. The winner will likely be whichever team dictates the tempo in the opening minutes. This radar chart compares both teams across 4 key metrics: defensive structure, pressing intensity, transition speed, and set-piece threat. Look at Sweden. Their data stretches heavily towards rigid structure and set-piece dominance, preferring to absorb pressure. Tunisia is the exact opposite. Their data spikes aggressively towards high pressing intensity and rapid transition speed to force the issue. Sweden's approach has a clear trade-off. By willingly surrendering possession, they risk being dragged into frustrating scoreless gridlocks if their counters fail to connect. Tunisia's vulnerability is stamina. Their high-energy pressing physically depletes the squad, which routinely leaves them exposed in the final 20 minutes of a match. Watch the first 15 minutes closely. This initial tactical friction establishes the patterns that will likely define the rest of the match. Sweden's overarching philosophy is simple. They do not care about dominating the ball. Their primary goal is to lock down all available space. The architect behind this structure is Victor Lindelof. He is the defensive anchor responsible for organizing this deep, highly calculated backline. But sitting deep serves a secondary purpose. It acts as a deliberate trap, baiting the opposing team into pushing their own defenders too far forward. This pitch map shows the spatial consequence of that trap. When the opponent overcommits, massive pockets of unguarded territory open up right behind their defensive line. That exact unguarded space is exactly what Alexander Isak is engineered to exploit. Once the ball turns over, Isak's elite acceleration kicks in. He punishes high-pressing teams by turning a single transition into a high-probability scoring chance. Sweden plays a game of extreme patience. They only need the opponent to make one overzealous mistake to secure the victory. Tunisia counters that structure with raw, volatile energy. Their goal is to inject enough pace into the match to completely bypass Sweden's defensive traps. In the midfield engine room, you have Hannibal Mejbri operating as a highly aggressive vertical ball carrier. His carrying ability is specifically used to shatter Sweden's first line of pressure before they have time to fully organize their block. Look at this diagram showing a midfield turnover. If Mejbri loses the ball during one of these aggressive runs, Tunisia's defensive shape is instantly broken. To capitalize on those chaotic offensive moments, they rely on veteran playmaker Wabi Khazri to manufacture goals out of thin air. Alongside him, Youssef Masakni provides unpredictable dribbling, giving rigid, stationary defenders serious trouble in one-on-one situations. There is a strict physiological trade-off here. Sustaining an intense press with an older core against a highly physical Swedish side is nearly impossible for a full 90 minutes. Tunisia's most viable path to victory is to shock Sweden early. They have to force errors and get on the scoreboard before their physical reserves run dry. This decision tree flowchart is our game script matrix. It projects exactly how the opening goal will dictate the rest of the match. If Tunisia manages to score in the opening minutes, chaos is amplified. Falling behind forces Sweden out of their comfortable low block, lowering their probability of controlling the tempo. But if we look at the alternative path, where Sweden scores early, the conditions flip. Tunisia is forced to overextend. That early deficit forces Tunisia to abandon their caution completely. Pushing forward aggressively plays perfectly into Alexander Isak's lethal counterattacking runs. From there, Sweden will execute their primary game plan: kill the momentum, deliberately slow the pace, and rely on their physical advantage on set pieces to close out the match. While a chaotic upset is possible, cold logic dictates that Tunisia's raw energy is likely to be suffocated by Swedish discipline as the clock runs down. Looking strictly at the expected game script rather than emotional hype, The data points to one clear result. The tactical probability favors a narrow Swedish victory, likely decided by clinical finishing during one of Tunisia's late-game defensive lapses. The romantic appeal of a Tunisian underdog victory is incredibly strong, especially with their passionate supporters behind them, but the tactical data favors the European structure. You now have the tools to track the tactical battle in the opening minutes. Take the game script matrix and apply it. Drop your own conditional predictions in the comments below. Surviving the World Cup requires seeing the game clearly. Make sure to subscribe for more rigorous tactical intelligence before the next match.